What up, y'all? What's good? What's good? What's good? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me loud and clear. What's good? Blow this chat up. Y'all see I'm in the building. Waiting for everybody to join us. We're going to have a good lesson today. We're going to talk about the rise of modern Kimbanda, where Mercedes left off. I'll give everybody a couple of minutes to join us. Press 1 if you can hear me clear. I'll make sure y'all can hear me. All right, look like everybody can hear me. I'm wait for everybody to join. All right, cool. As always, very important to take good notes. I'm the substitute teacher today. You know, the queen is always doing something. Right? The queen is always doing something. But today we're going to talk a little bit about another Kimbanda queen, right? And she's in her late 80s. And we're going to talk about modern Kimbanda. So y'all got all of the stuff from ancient Kimbanda. You got the stuff from the 1500s, 1600s, 1800s, and then I think we left off around 1950 to 70. Yeah, between 1950 and 1960, that's where we left off. Now we are going into the organized Kimbanda, Kimbanda officially as a religion, or modern Kimbanda, or what they call it in Brazil, is traditional Kimbanda. All right. This is the stuff that y'all are being acquainted with. The current practice of Pombajita and Eshu. So pay very close attention to this lesson. All right. So let's recap real quick. 1500, the Portuguese came to Brazil, right? 1530 to like 1850, you got the first slave trade, right? Or the main period of the transatlantic slave trade in Brazil. Then, let me see, from 1800 to from 1800 to like 1890, you got the cultural exchange. Take good notes, y'all. Right? Then, very important for y'all to know, 1908, that's when we have Umbanda from the Caboclo that created Umbanda, the Caboclo that, risen up and rebelled, right? And that was Caboclo da Sete Encruzilhadas. So write that down. Caboclo das DAS Sete SETE Encruzilhadas, right? Who created Umbanda. So this caboclo was tired of being treated like a janitor or something less than, and it created its own religion through someone's mediumship. All right, so that's 1908. 1908. Then you got, and this is where Yaya Mercedes left off. Then you got this modern Macumba surge, right? So this urban Macumba that's evolving, right? And these are all of the different currents of Eshu. So pretty much, if you were not Catholic and you are not practicing the French Cardicism, if you were not practicing Kardec, if you were not Catholic, and you were not Candomblé, you whatever you did, if it was spiritual, it was considered Macumba. That includes Western, esoteric, occult Satanism. That includes Goetic or Goetia worship, is practicing with the Goetic entities. That includes all forms of shamanism. So whether it is Brazilian shamanism or whether it was shamanism from any of the Americas, so that is North, South, and Central America, whether it was African shamanism, right? But pretty much anything dealing with indigenous spiritual practice, that was considered Macumba, right? So, 20th century, you got the Macumba surge, right? You got all of these uh, sorcerers mixing and matching their work. And at that point, this what do you call it? I'm trying to paint the picture for y'all. So it's a surge. It's I'm trying to paint the picture because this is something that has never occurred in America, right? We may have religious tolerance here, but we don't have an embracing of sorcerers, and we don't have a spiritual town. I mean, the closest thing we have to that is New Orleans, right? But this, what I'm talking about, this fusion of magic, it spiraled out of control, right? And at the helm of it was the repeated pattern of Eshu, right? Now, this is stemming from Eshu to Orisha and the Eshu that you get in Umbanda, right? Which that Eshu was more of a spiritual cleaner or janitor, right? But then something very magical occurred, right? So you have something called a Bara crossing, Bara crossing. Y'all got to write that down. The Bara crossing. Write that down. All right. So during a Umbanda ceremony, Eshu Rei das Sete Encruzilhadas, or Eshu King of the Seven Crossroads, was working in a ceremony. When I say working a ceremony, meaning this Eshu have come down and has mounted someone, right? And this Eshu decided that he was not going to do what was asked of him, right? So Eshu Hey Dissection Cruciatus, aka we call him Silsechi, right? Sir Seven, right? So you'll hear you will ponchos, uh, and ponchos will be referencing Silsechi. And this issue decided because when he was alive, he was a king. He decided that he's not working the ceremony. So he possesses a medium. Her name is Maeda G. Ogun, right? Or sometimes uh, referenced as My Aida, right? And he stays in possession for very long periods of time, and he is telling everyone in the Umbanda ceremony that there are several issues that are kings, and he is a queen, and he starts organizing this very spread out Kimbanda. And he organizes it into 7 realms. And that's how we have the organization of the 7 realms of Kimbanda and the Pombajitas and the Eshus that follows the 7 realms, right? So Eshu He, the Sechian Cruciatus, possesses Maeda for weeks at a time. And this Eshu was able to do very supernatural things. Like, for example, he was able to eat candles, just eat glass, be possessed for long periods of time. And Maeda, she would have Jeris, right? Those are Kimbanda ceremonies. And she would do this for years. And her turnouts would be very, very, very big. So Maeda is a Pumbajita queen of Kimbanda. All right. Till this day, she still sits very high on the throne. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Press 1 if y'all followed all of that. The Kimbanda that we know today is, it comes from a fusion of all of this magic. So I'm gonna say it again. African magic, Brazilian magic, the magic of the Americas. So North, South, Central American shamanism, right? Even the European stuff, right? And even, especially like because we deal with like Maria Pagelia and all of that, the Iberian witchcraft, the witchcraft from the Iberian Peninsula. So, you know, one of the most complex topics that we teach is what is Kimbanda, right? So when you find out what the history is and how this came to be here, then when I ask someone what is Kimbanda, I will always get a different answer because it's this giant culmination of the expertise of all this magic that went all the way back from ancient times till now, but it's very organized now. So now, what did this fusion create? So back then in Kimbanda, most of the spirits were like caboclos, right? or maestries or judemas, right? Medicine men and women. But now, because of the fusion, when we have the modern Kimbanda, some of the spirits are gangsters, right? Or former prostitutes, or you have kings, queens, sailors, right? Or very marginalized people like crooks, or what they say in Brazil, scoundrels, right? So gangsters, scam artists, right? Serial killers, right? So the range of what can be a Pombagira and or an Eshu is ridiculously vast, right? So you got a Pombagira that can be a gypsy. You got a Pombagira that can be from the slums. You got a Pombagira that was just a straight witch. A Pombagira that was a bartender, right? So this Kimbanda, very deep, because it doesn't matter who that person was when they was alive. Their magic is real, right? Their magic is real, but it's very important for y'all to understand this lesson of the history of Kimbanda, right? Because a lot of people out there don't know it. All right, a lot of people don't know it. Kimbanda is becoming more and more popular every day. More and more people want to get into this, all right? And it will be some years before this information that y'all are getting now comes out. And it'll be some years before it comes out properly. I'll say that, right? Any more questions? Now I'm ready for questions. I'm ready for questions. Please ask me some good questions, y'all. Mercedes will be back too in a couple of days. She just, like I said, doing Mercedes stuff. Somebody wanted the spelling of the names. I'm going to give it right now. Eshuhe Dasechi and Cruzialdus. And Maeda's name is Maeda G. Ogun. The Sadidi housewife asked a very interesting question. You say he was a king when he was alive. Do you know where from? So, yes, of course, all of the Pombagiras and Eshus have historical records of their life. But we wait till you initiate before we give the historical account. During life, what made them so powerful enough to be venerated after life? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so first things first, if the Catholics can venerate a saint, then we can venerate anybody. That's the first thing y'all gotta know. Second thing, veneration is a very ancient practice, practiced by the ancient caboclos and the ancient Africans. So during life, what made them so powerful enough to be venerated, that they were impactful, they were popular, right? We deemed them worthy to be venerated. Most importantly, their life story. So I give you a little secret here. Back in the ancient caboclo days, a medicine man, if they were very, very good at their craft, the other people in the village and the other medicine men would know how to bring that person back to life through a signature melody, right? A signature melody that repeated itself. That signature melody is known as a pontos riscado, aka a sun point, or a ponto and a pontos cantados. Sorry, ponto riscado is the sigil. Pontos cantados, known as a sun point. So a pontos cantados, if it is ritualized and done the right way, it can bring a spirit back to be venerated. Right. One of the things that the Brazilians mastered was poetry in the song of someone's life and how that person's life went. That carries an energy of memory. That memory has a life force to bring a dead person back to life. That dead person can possess you, right? And because it lived life already, it has the wisdom to tell you what to look out for, psychic abilities and all of that. And if that spirit receives offerings, that spirit develops supernatural powers. Those supernatural powers can be used for magic. Does that make sense? Right. Well, Kimbanda is organized necromancy, right? It is organized necromancy, pulling from very ancient roots. The most ancient of the root is out of the Congo, right? The word Kimbanda is a Bantu word, right? So we got the Congo, we got all of these indigenous places around Brazil, right? Then you got the stuff coming from Europe, all of that magic, right? Um, all of that magic is, so one of the things about, we call it traditional Kimbanda, right? This new formation, right? One of the coolest things about it right now is that it is still unfolding. All right, it's unfolding. All right, so specialized Eshus and Pombagitas are being formulated as this practice unfolds. Right, right. Maeda is very important because she is the first person to organize this very complex thing into a uniform religion. All right. And because it's organized into a uniform religion, it's even more powerful. Right. So, how do you organize something so complex into uniform? A spirit has to have enough rank and power to do it. That's Selsetchi, Eshu, the king of the seven crossroads, right? So there's so many things you learn about the spirit from Kimbanda, right? For example, we know that if you were a king when you were alive, you still have the energy, you still have the ashe, and the spiritual power to carry out things like organizing spirits into a uniform. Anyone have any more questions? Y'all know how I am. I like questions. Y'all know how I am. I'm gonna get out of here in a second. I'm just looking for a couple more questions that to answer. How are y'all doing with taking notes? Are y'all taking good notes? Please take good notes because I don't know. Y'all probably don't know how Yaya Mercedes gets down yet, but she will test y'all, especially if y'all looking to initiate. And I'm telling you this right now, she's way stricter than me. I'm gonna just say that. So the Jim Ferry asks, wow, so as time goes, the more Eshus and Pombagiras are being formed. So they'll have different abilities and some will even be more powerful. Yes, as Kimbanda unfolds, and trust me, they are unbelievably powerful right now. So be honest with you, they don't need to be more powerful, right? But as Kimbanda unfolds, the different abilities of the Pombagiras and Eshus will unfold into even more specialized divisions. For examples, we now have specialized money Eshus, Eshu Chamajinyedo, Eshu Duodu, just for money. That's an example. Book Butterfly 360. Is modern Kimbanda Makumba? What's the difference? All Kimbanda is Makumba, right? All black magic, all Brazilian black magic is automatically Makumba, right? If it ain't Christianity, it's Makumba by default. So modern Kimbanda is absolutely Makumba, right? But remember, Makumba was the nickname for black magic from black people, right? If you were black, you did black magic, you were in Brazil, that was Macumba. And it still is. Can Eshes and Pombagira share magic with one another, like pass down magic to the modern Pombagira and Eshu? They don't need to do that, right? They don't need to do that. Trust me, they are content with what they have. Whatever their abilities is. So, for example, like Pombagira Cigana or any of the Pombagira Ciganas, most likely because they are gypsies, they have psychic abilities. Some can read tarot cards, some are very good intuitively, right? This Pombagira over here might be great in the club. They're not going to want to swap powers. They are content with what they have. I got a question for y'all. If you are looking to initiate into Kimbanda, press one. I want to know who think they got what it take. Okay, cool. Who here is afraid to initiate into Kimbanda? I want to know that too. All right, we're gonna wrap it up in a second. I do want to let y'all know y'all very fortunate to be learning from Yaya Mercedes. She is the bomb.com. The fact that she even decided to teach y'all, please make every lesson. All right. She is the Pombajira queen. She have a lot of godchildren, a lot of people that have a lot of respect for her. She's a scholar. She knows her shit. And there's not nobody in the States that's a better teacher. I could tell y'all that. I can tell y'all that. Take good notes though, because if you don't study, she will remove you. She's I'm bad. She worse than me. I'm just telling you that. All right, but we'll have class in like 2 days. So see y'all soon. One love. Peace.